There's something terrifying about being home alone, not because of the silence, but because of the way your mind starts filling it in. You double check the locks, you tell yourself you're safe, and you swear every sound is just the house settling. But what happens when it's not? Tonight's story is based on real events that actually happened, reconstructed for storytelling, and it's about a woman who thought she was completely alone until she realized someone else had been watching her the entire time. This is Story Time. I never liked being home alone at night, but I told myself it was irrational. I was 27, living in a small 2-bedroom rental house on a quiet street. No roommates, no pets. Just me, my phone, and the constant hum of the refrigerator. That night, my boyfriend had left around 6:30 p.m. He was heading out of town for work and wouldn't be back until the next evening. I locked the door behind him, watched his car disappear down the street, and did my usual routine. Deadbolt, chain lock, windows checked. Everything was normal. By 9 p.m., I was curled up on the couch watching TV, scrolling through my phone, half listening to the show playing in the background. The house felt unusually quiet. No cars passing, no dogs barking, just silence so thick it felt heavy. Around 9:47 p.m., I heard a sound. It was faint, almost unnoticeable, a soft tap. I muted the TV. The sound came again, tap, tap, from somewhere near the back of the house. I told myself it was the branches from the tree outside brushing against the siding. That tree had been there since I moved in, and it always made noise when the wind picked up, but there was no wind. I stood up and walked toward the kitchen, trying not to let my nerves take over. The tapping stopped as soon as I reached the doorway. I stood there, listening, holding my breath. Nothing. I laughed at myself, shook my head, and went back to the couch. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed.
You live alone, right?
My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, convinced it was a prank. I didn't respond. Instead, I locked my phone and tried to slow my breathing. Maybe it was spam. Maybe someone typed the wrong number. Then another message came through.
Your boyfriend left earlier.
My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. There was no way anyone should know that. I jumped up, locked the front door again even though it was already locked, and turned on every light in the house. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone when I called my boyfriend. He answered immediately.
Hey, what's wrong?
He asked. I think someone's messing with me, I whispered. I just got these texts. Someone knows you left. He tried to calm me down, said it was probably someone who saw him leave, maybe a neighbor. But when I told him about the tapping at the back of the house, his tone changed.
Check the doors.
He said.
Every single one.
I walked toward the back door and froze. The curtain over the window was slightly moved. I never leave it like that. I reached out slowly and pulled it back. There were fingerprints on the glass. Fresh, smudged, right at eye level. I screamed. I ran to my bedroom, locked the door, and called 911. I stayed on the line while the dispatcher asked me questions, her voice steady while mine cracked and shook. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Not outside. Inside. They were slow, deliberate, heavy enough to creak the floorboards as they moved from the kitchen toward the hallway. I climbed onto my bed, pressing myself into the corner, holding my phone like it was the only thing keeping me alive. The dispatcher told me officers were on the way. Then the handle to my bedroom door moved, just slightly, as if someone was testing it. I covered my mouth so I wouldn't scream. The handle stopped moving. Silence again. Minutes passed, maybe seconds, I couldn't tell. Then I heard a loud knock, followed by shouting.
Police, come out now!
I unlocked the door and ran into the hallway, sobbing. Officers searched the house from top to bottom. They found the back door unlocked. They found muddy footprints leading through the kitchen. And they found something else that made my blood run cold. A cell phone, propped on the counter, recording. The intruder was never caught, but the police told me something I'll never forget. He had been inside my house before my boyfriend left, waiting. When my roommate moved out, I decided not to replace her. The extra space felt peaceful, quiet. I liked having the apartment to myself. At first, then things started going missing. Food, small things. Bread would disappear faster than normal. My milk would be half empty when I knew I hadn't used it. I blamed myself. Maybe I was forgetful. Maybe I was tired. Then my bathroom cabinet started shifting. My toothbrush would be wet when I hadn't used it. Towels would be folded differently. At first, I thought maybe maintenance had come in while I was gone, but no notices, no emails, no explanation. One night, I stayed up late binge-watching shows. Around 2 a.m., I heard what sounded like someone walking softly above me. My apartment didn't have an upstairs. The sound came again, a slow, dragging step. I muted the TV. The sound came from above the hallway ceiling. That's when I remembered the attic access panel. I had never opened it. The next morning, I called my landlord. Maintenance came and opened the panel. They found bedding, food wrappers, and dirty clothes. Someone had been living in my attic. They had been coming down while I slept, watching me. The police never found them, but I moved out that same week. I moved into my apartment after a bad breakup. New place, new start, new peace. It was a second-floor unit in a quiet complex. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, small balcony, and a living room that felt cozy instead of empty. The kind of place where you feel safe being alone. For weeks, nothing felt off. No strange noises, no missing items, no weird neighbors. One night around 10:30 p.m., I was in the shower when I heard music playing. Not loud, just faint, muffled. I turned off the water and listened. It was coming from the living room. My TV was off when I got in the shower. My heart started racing. I grabbed a towel, walked slowly down the hallway, and froze. The TV was on. Not Netflix, not cable. It was on a live camera feed, black and white, grainy, and the angle was wrong. It was pointed at my couch. My couch, from above, from the corner of the ceiling. I stared at the screen, confused, until I saw myself on it, walking out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, being watched. I screamed. I ran out of the apartment barefoot and called 911 from the stairwell. Police arrived and searched the unit. They found 2 hidden cameras, one in the living room vent, one inside a smoke detector in my bedroom. Both were connected to a wireless feed. Someone had been watching me for weeks. The landlord later admitted the previous tenant had been evicted for unauthorized modifications. They never found who installed them, but I'll never forget what the officer told me. These weren't new. They'd been here a long time.
I was 16 when I took a late-night babysitting job for a family I didn't know well. The parents said the kids would be asleep, and I just needed to be there in case they woke up. The house was big, too quiet. Around 10:30 p.m., I heard a door close upstairs. I assumed one of the kids had gotten up, but when I checked, both kids were asleep. Then I heard footsteps, slow, heavy. I called the parents. They told me to lock myself in the bathroom and call police. When officers arrived, they found a man hiding in a spare bedroom closet. He had been watching me for over an hour.
I was 19 and babysitting for my aunt while she worked a night shift. Big house, old neighborhood, 3 floors. I was alone. The kids were asleep upstairs, and I was in the kitchen making noodles when the phone rang. Landline, I answered. Hello? Silence. Then breathing. Slow, heavy. I hung up. 2 minutes later, it rang again. I answered again. Stop calling. A man's voice responded.
I'm already here.
My blood ran cold. I dropped the phone and ran upstairs to check the kids. They were asleep. Safe. Then I heard it. A door closing downstairs. Not slammed, closed gently. I locked the bedroom door, called 911, and hid in the closet with the kids. Police arrived. They found the basement door open, footprints, and a window unlocked. The man had been inside the house while I was cooking, using the house phone, calling me from inside.
The first night alone felt normal. My husband left for a 3-day work trip, something he'd done dozens of times before. I watched him pull out of the driveway around 6 p.m., wave from the porch, and lock the door behind me. Same routine, same house, same sense of safety I'd always had. I checked the locks, front door, back door, garage door. Everything was secure. By 9:30 p.m., I was upstairs in our bedroom, watching TV with the volume low. The house was quiet in that way suburban houses get at night. No traffic, no neighbors outside, just the hum of electricity and the occasional creak from the floorboards. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt. That was my first mistake. Around 10:12 p.m., I heard a sound downstairs. It wasn't loud. It wasn't sudden. It sounded like a drawer being closed, carefully. I muted the TV. Silence. I stayed perfectly still, listening. After a few seconds, I convinced myself it was nothing. Houses make noise, pipes expand, wood shifts. I unmuted the TV. Then I heard it again. This time, it sounded like footsteps, slow ones. I grabbed my phone and texted my husband. "Did you forget something here?" He responded almost immediately. "No. Why?" My heart started pounding. I told myself not to panic. I stayed in the bedroom for another 10 minutes, listening for anything else. Nothing happened. Eventually, I decided to check downstairs. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the drawer at the top of the stairs and turned on every light as I went down. Living room, empty, kitchen, nothing out of place, until I noticed the drawer, the junk drawer. It was open. I never leave it open. I stood there staring at it, my chest tight, my hand gripping the knife so hard my fingers hurt. I checked the rest of the kitchen. Everything looked normal. I told myself I was imagining things. I locked the bedroom door that night anyway. At 2:37 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my bedroom door handle moving, just slightly, as if someone was testing it. I froze. The handle stopped moving. Then footsteps retreated down the hallway. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I searched the house again. Nothing was missing, no signs of forced entry. Every lock was still engaged. I started to believe it was stress, anxiety, my imagination running wild because I was alone, until the second night. That night, I fell asleep with the TV still on. Sometime after midnight, I woke up because the TV volume had been turned down. Not muted, turned down. I sat up slowly, staring at the remote on the nightstand. I hadn't touched it. That's when I smelled something. Coffee. Fresh coffee. I don't drink coffee at night. My blood ran cold. I grabbed my phone and quietly called my husband. He answered, groggy. "I think someone's in the house," I whispered. Before he could respond, I heard the sound of the coffee maker turning off downstairs. A click. Silence. My husband told me to lock myself in the bathroom and call the police. I did exactly that. While I was on the phone with 911, I heard the footsteps again. This time they came all the way up the stairs, slow, unrushed, confident. The dispatcher stayed calm, asking me questions, telling me officers were on the way. Then the footsteps stopped right outside the bathroom door. I held my breath. I heard a voice, male, calm. "I know you're home." I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. The door handle turned. It didn't open. After what felt like forever, I heard footsteps retreating back down the stairs, then a door opening, then closing. Police arrived minutes later. They searched the house thoroughly. They found no signs of forced entry, but they did find something else, a spare key, hidden behind the trash bins outside, one that matched my locks. The police explained that someone had likely been entering my home while my husband was at work, learning my routines, my habits, my timing, waiting for me to be alone. They never caught him, but the officer told me something that still makes my skin crawl. He wasn't breaking in, he was letting himself in. We changed every lock the next day. I never stayed alone in that house again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video drops. Until next time, my friends.